Creative Sound Blaster, the audio card that defined PC gaming. In 1989, Creative Labs released a piece of hardware that would fundamentally change personal computing forever. The Sound Blaster audio card didn't just add sound to PCs, it created an entire industry, established gaming as a legitimate multimedia experience, and built a monopoly so dominant that Sound Blaster compatible became the gold standard every competitor had to meet. For over 2 decades, Creative Labs controlled the PC audio landscape with an iron fist, generating billions in revenue and becoming synonymous with computer sound itself. But empires built on hardware dominance face a unique vulnerability in the technology world. Eventually, software catches up. The very operating system that helped establish Creative's dominance would ultimately become the architect of its downfall, proving that in tech, today's essential hardware often becomes tomorrow's redundant relic. The story begins in 1981 when Sim Wong Hu founded Creative Technology in Singapore with just $50,000 in startup capital. Wong Hu, an electrical engineer who had studied at the Nanyang Technological University, initially focused on creating add-on boards for Apple II computers. The company's first product was a Chinese character display card for the Apple II, targeting the Asian market where English-only computers had limited appeal. Creative struggled in these early years, with revenues barely reaching $1 million by 1987. The personal computer market was exploding, but sound remained a luxury feature relegated to expensive workstations and specialized music equipment. IBM PCs shipped with nothing more than a primitive internal speaker capable of producing basic beeps and tones. Wong Hu recognized that as computers became more powerful and software more sophisticated, users would demand richer multimedia experiences. He made a calculated bet that audio would become essential to personal computing, not just a nice-to-have feature. Creative's breakthrough came with reverse engineering and improving upon existing audio technology. In 1987, the company released the Game Blaster, their first audio card for IBM-compatible PCs. The Game Blaster featured twin Philips SAA 1099 sound chips and provided 12-channel stereo sound, a massive improvement over the PC speaker's monotone beeps. However, the Game Blaster suffered from limited software support and compatibility issues. Learning from these mistakes, Creative developed the original Sound Blaster in 1989, incorporating the Game Blaster's capabilities while adding crucial backward compatibility with the existing AdLib audio card standard. This decision proved transformational. By maintaining AdLib compatibility, Sound Blaster could run existing audio-enabled software while offering superior features. The original Sound Blaster included an FM synthesis chip for music, digital sound playback and recording capabilities, a game port for joysticks, and most importantly, complete compatibility with the established AdLib standard that many games already supported. The Sound Blaster's timing coincided perfectly with the explosion of PC gaming in the early 1990s. Games like Wing Commander, Monkey Island, and Civilization showcased the dramatic difference quality audio made to the gaming experience. Instead of silent gameplay punctuated by occasional beeps, players could enjoy orchestral soundtracks, voice acting, and realistic sound effects that immersed them in virtual worlds. Creative aggressively courted game developers, providing free development kits, technical support, and financial incentives to ensure new titles supported Sound Blaster features. The company established developer relations programs that became the template for hardware-software partnerships throughout the industry. By 1992, Creative held approximately 70% of the PC audio card market, with annual revenues exceeding $100 million. The Sound Blaster Pro, released in 1991, added true 16-bit stereo sound and became the de facto standard for multimedia PCs. Major computer manufacturers like Dell, Compaq, and Gateway began shipping systems with Sound Blaster cards pre-installed, further cementing Creative's market position. Creative's dominance expanded throughout the 1990s as multimedia computing became mainstream. The Sound Blaster 16, launched in 1992, provided CD-quality audio recording and playback, making it essential for the emerging CD-ROM software market. Educational titles, reference materials, and productivity software increasingly incorporated audio elements that required Sound Blaster compatibility. Creative's market share peaked at over 80% by 1995, generating annual revenues exceeding $500 million. The company went public in 1992 and used the capital to acquire competitors, license essential audio patents, and expand into related markets like speakers, headphones, and PC cameras. Creative's Audio PCI series, introduced in 1996, moved audio processing from dedicated hardware chips to the main processor, reducing manufacturing costs while maintaining performance. The company's Live series, launched in 1998, introduced hardware-accelerated 3D audio positioning that became crucial for first-person shooters and virtual reality applications. However, Creative's aggressive business tactics and proprietary approach began generating industry resentment by the late 1990s. The company frequently sued competitors for patent infringement, most notably engaging in a prolonged legal battle with Oriole Semiconductor over 3D audio technology. Creative's licensing terms were often considered restrictive and expensive, forcing smaller audio companies out of the market or into uncomfortable partnerships. The company's proprietary EAX audio standard, while technically superior to generic alternatives, required developers to implement Creative-specific code that didn't work with other audio hardware. This created a vendor lock-in situation where game studios felt compelled to support Creative's latest features to satisfy their Sound Blaster-equipped audience, even if they preferred working with more developer-friendly competitors. Creative's market dominance allowed them to dictate terms to software developers, hardware manufacturers, and even PC builders who wanted to offer competitive multimedia systems. The beginning of Creative's decline coincided with Microsoft's decision to integrate comprehensive audio support directly into Windows. While earlier versions of Windows included basic audio drivers, Windows 98 introduced Direct Sound, a standardized audio API that allowed games and applications to communicate with any compatible audio hardware using identical programming interfaces. Suddenly, developers could write audio code once and have it work across dozens of different sound cards, speakers, and audio chipsets. Microsoft's Windows driver model further standardized audio hardware interfaces, reducing the technical barriers for new companies to enter the audio market. Intel seized this opportunity by developing integrated audio solutions that embedded sound processing directly into motherboard chipsets. Intel's AC97 standard, introduced in 1997, provided adequate audio quality for most users without requiring separate expansion cards, dramatically reducing system costs for computer manufacturers. Creative initially dismissed integrated audio as inferior technology that couldn't match dedicated audio cards' performance and features. This assessment was technically accurate in 1998, but Creative underestimated how rapidly integrated solutions would improve and how good enough audio would satisfy most consumers' needs. Intel's integrated audio chipsets evolved quickly, adding support for surround sound, hardware acceleration, and eventually high-definition audio that rivaled dedicated cards. Motherboard manufacturers embraced integrated audio because it reduced component costs, simplified system design, and eliminated compatibility issues. Computer buyers increasingly questioned why they should spend $50 to $200 on separate audio cards when their motherboards already included perfectly functional sound capabilities. Creative's revenues began declining in 2000 as the integrated audio market expanded from budget computers to mainstream and even high-end systems. The gaming industry's evolution also undermined Creative's traditional advantages. Early 3D games like Quake and Unreal relied heavily on hardware audio acceleration to achieve realistic sound positioning and environmental effects. Creative's Live and Audigy series cards provided dedicated processors that handled complex audio calculations without burdening the main CPU. However, as processors became dramatically more powerful throughout the 2000s, software-based audio processing became viable for most applications. Game engines like Source and Unreal Engine 3 implemented sophisticated software audio systems that delivered comparable experiences without requiring specialized hardware. Microsoft's Vista operating system, released in 2007, restructured the entire Windows audio subsystem, breaking compatibility with many existing hardware-accelerated audio features and pushing developers towards software-based alternatives. Creative's EAX technology, once essential for immersive gaming audio, became largely irrelevant as games moved to cross-platform audio engines designed to work identically across PCs, consoles, and mobile devices. Creative's attempts to maintain relevance in the changing market met with limited success. The company diversified into MP3 players with the Zen series, achieving modest success but never challenging Apple's iPod dominance. Creative's webcams, speakers, and headphones generated steady revenue but lacked the high margins and market control of their audio card business. The Xfi series, launched in 2005, represented Creative's most technically ambitious audio cards, featuring powerful dedicated processors and advanced audio enhancement algorithms. However, the Xfi cards suffered from driver compatibility issues, limited software support, and prices that seemed excessive compared to integrated alternatives. Creative's legal victory against Apple in 2006, resulting in a $100 million patent settlement, provided a temporary financial boost but couldn't reverse the fundamental market shift toward integrated audio. The company's gaming headset business became increasingly important as PC gaming evolved toward online multiplayer experiences where clear voice communication mattered more than environmental audio effects. The mobile revolution delivered the final blow to Creative's audio card business model. Smartphones and tablets achieved mainstream adoption without any provision for expansion cards, creating a generation of users accustomed to integrated audio solutions. Mobile gaming became a dominant force in the industry, with titles like Angry Birds and Candy Crush generating more revenue than traditional PC games that had once driven Sound Blaster sales. Cloud gaming services and streaming platforms reduced the importance of local hardware performance, making high-end audio cards even less relevant to mainstream users. Creative's revenue peaked at over $1 billion in 2004, but declined to approximately $200 million by 2010 as the audio card market contracted. The company shifted focus towards software solutions, mobile accessories, and emerging markets where dedicated audio hardware retained some appeal. Today, Creative Labs survives as a niche player in the audio market, serving enthusiasts and professionals who still value dedicated audio hardware. The company's gaming headsets, USB audio interfaces, and portable speakers generate modest revenues in specific market segments. However, Creative's transformation from industry titan to specialty vendor illustrates the relentless pace of technological change in personal computing. Hardware that once seemed indispensable becomes obsolete when software advances or integration eliminates the need for separate components. Creative's Sound Blaster cards genuinely revolutionized personal computing, enabling multimedia experiences that were previously impossible and establishing PC gaming as a legitimate entertainment medium. The company's two-decade dominance created immense value for users, developers, and investors while pushing audio technology forward through continuous innovation. Yet Creative's downfall also demonstrates the dangers of building business models around proprietary hardware standards in an industry that constantly trends toward openness, integration, and standardization. The Sound Blaster's legacy lives on in every PC game soundtrack, voice chat session, and multimedia application, even though the hardware that made it possible has largely disappeared into the motherboard chipsets that power modern computing.